2024. It is Earth Day. What does that mean to you? What does that mean overall? We'll have some history to share for you. Welcome to Sithara, which is where we talk about everything celestial. That is astronomy, astrology, theology, and Earth, because we are celestial as well. We're just hanging in the air with the other planets, and that's so intriguing to just think about the fact, like when people can see the moon, that big shiny disc in the sky at night. I mean, it's just hanging there. Of course, nothing just hangs there. So I guess I should explain what we're. It's cold in Sydney, and
this would be good in space.
In space, yes. So these are our space suits, what we would wear if we were traveling to go and, sort of enter a wormhole to go and perhaps maybe have intergalactic travel rather than interstellar. But first I want to share, do you know what Earth Day is about, darling?
It's about the Earth.
That's great. That is all 5 points for you.
Yeah,
but I don't.
Let's take a guess.
I don't really know if people know what else it's about. So I'm going to read, and I'm reading now from Wikipedia. Earth Day is an annual event on April 22nd to demonstrate support for environmental protection. First held on April 22nd, 1970, it now includes a wide range of events coordinated globally by earthday.org, formerly Earth Day Network, including 1 million people in more than 193 countries. The official theme for 2024 is planet versus plastics.
Right.
And 2025 will be the 55th anniversary of Earth Day. That doesn't mean Earth is only 55 days, or regardless of what...
55 years.
55th anniversary of Earth Day.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that Earth is 55 years old.
Yeah.
Just in case people, like flat earthers. Like, no offense, guys, but okay, I do clearly mean offense by it, because every time someone precedes something with no offense, you know that someone's going to be offended by anything. So that is said. So what else do we need to know about Earth Day? There's other things. Why do we celebrate Earth Day on April 22nd? I will read to you. So the first Earth Day, back in 1970, as I said, sometimes it is referred to as having marked the beginning of the modern environmental movement. And this predates the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, which, look, I don't know how good an agency that was.
Well, does it still exist?
Does it still exist? And also, why are we still fighting for all of these things?
Yeah.
Don't we think that the more we go ahead into the future, the more that we should make progress?
You'd think.
You think, right? And this is a question you ask. Why?
Hasn't anything changed?
Have you got any facts for us, about Earth? Any facts you want to read?
Earth is 4.543 billion years old, Earth years, and it's 20 cosmic years old.
Which, explain the cosmic year, please.
So that's one galactic orbit. So that's one orbit around the galaxy.
Thank you, because people don't quite understand how far away everything is, and exactly how far we are from the nearest star. And what is our nearest star?
The sun.
Thank you. I don't understand why
I thought that was a trick question.
No, why would that be? That is a trick question to some people.
Star?
The sun.
And other than the sun.
Proxima Centauri.
Right, cool.
That's the one after that.
See, I didn't know that.
Well, I did. I knew that because, believe it or not, I was supposed to be studying astrophysics once upon a time back when I was intelligent. But now, all I know are facts.
Well, how do you measure intelligence? What does that mean?
I don't know. Ask the people who come and visit the planet and say, nope, they're not ready. They're not ready for us just yet. I know that they look at us and go, okay, they've got a long way to go.
That, yeah.
The Goldilocks zone. Explain the Goldilocks zone, darling. I've just got to see. You know the Goldilocks zone?
Yeah, just right. It's just in the perfect distance from the sun for life to exist. Right?
And yes. And the Goldilocks zone is actually the universe as we know it. And I'll explain why a bit later. But first of all, I need to read this news article from Al Jazeera. And this was on yesterday's news. Why does NASA want a time zone on the moon?
What?
NASA has been tasked with determining a standard time zone for the moon, but it's more complicated than you might think. I'm going to read the article. The United States government has tasked its space agency, NASA. I'm glad it says that because this is written by Al Jazeera. Otherwise, if it was written by anyone else, it would be like World Space Agency, NASA. So the U.S. government has tasked its space agency, NASA, with establishing a standard time zone for the moon, which will be known as Coordinated Lunar Time. Now, I really had to look at the date and think, is this some sort of April Fool's thing? Is this a joke? But Al Jazeera does not joke around, and maybe the United States is just trying to really escape after all the damage done on the Earth. We know it's billionaires are all trying to go, but yeah, this is insane. Are you finding it right?
No, yeah, sorry. I just wanted to see if the moon spins on its axis. It does.
It does spin
Yeah, so
on
the
its
moon
axis.
rotates as well.
So, in a memo issued on April 2nd, the US Office of Science and Technology Policy, it's like, I remember that in Fiji and I think in Australia too, there's a serious fraud squad. And I'm a Gen Xer from a time when Monty Python skits existed. Of course, they're all dinosaurs now, and they're not quite politically correct with the times. But back then, the serious fraud squad here, and it just sounds a bit funny. But I'm going to continue with what the U.S. Office of Science and Technology Policy have to say. Federal agencies will develop celestial time standardization with an initial focus on the lunar surface and missions operating in cislunar space, the area within the moon's orbit, with sufficient traceability to support missions to other celestial bodies. Traceability means that CLT can be kept in sync with time zones on Earth. So, and where do they focus that from? So who, Australian Eastern Standard Time? I mean, Greenwich Mean Time, I guess.
Right.
So, what do you think about this? Do you think, I don't know.
Well, I mean, if they're gonna put people on the moon, I guess they have to have a time. They have to have time there.
Sure.
Are they syncing it with Earth time? Did that say?
Well, okay, I'm continuing to read. The memo outlined the following features for the new CLT. And let me tell you again what that means. That is Coordinated Lunar Time. It's lunacy, folks, I'll tell you. Traceability to Coordinated Universal Time, which is UTC, a compromise for both English and French speakers. You mean two of the original colonizers. Anyway, accuracy sufficient to support precision navigation and science. Now that makes sense, right? In terms of satellites, and it is insane that we can talk to people in real time on the International Space Station. And, of
There's
course,
a slight delay though.
What, like a few seconds? Yeah. And then, of course, when Houston, we have a problem, or whatever it is that they used to say, that was, happening straight. Mm. And that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. So resilience to loss of contact with Earth, meaning CLT can operate independently of Earth. Why would it need to? Okay. And scalability to space environments beyond the Earth-Moon system, meaning other space stations beyond the Moon would be able to use CLT as well. Don't expect your favorite time zone and calendar apps to have CLT as an option yet. NASA has until the end of 2026 to establish CLT. That's not a long time. That's not too far off. I mean, look, at the moment, 2024 seems to be taking 10 years, but really, it's just everything is quickening. There is a quickening. I did read somewhere a long time ago that because of all the Earth movement and the tectonic plates, the earthquakes, the tsunamis, etc., Earth is continuously being tilted off its axis. And of course, Earth is oval, not as round as people think it is.
Well,
so
it's mostly water, right?
Right.
Water, so it would.
But also with the oval thing, I think, look, we're not talking from a professional point of view here, just how we can understand things. When I see something that is elliptical in shape, I think it can move without us really, really feeling it. But a round one perhaps has a bit more.
No.
Okay. Well, it was a nice, crazy theory I was coming up with. Anyway, why does the moon need its own time zone?
Right.
In layman's terms, we need a reliable lunar time Earth syncing system because lower gravity on the moon causes time to move slightly faster than on Earth. By just 58.7 microseconds faster within every 24 Earth hours. This is not science fiction, even though it is a main feature of Hollywood blockbusters such as Interstellar, one of our favorite movies. Known as gravitational time dilation, the passage of time is impacted by gravity. So, for instance, in Gargantua was the name of the black hole, right? But
Yeah.
that water planet in it, and 1 hour on that was equivalent to 7 years,
7 years.
Earth years,
Yeah.
and that's got everything to do with like the different planets in our solar system. By the way, I hadn't finished talking about the sun being our closest star. And how far away is it?
Sun.
93 billion miles,
Yeah, you got that.
Something
right
like
the
that.
last time.
something like that. It's that is the closest sun. That is the closest star. And most stars you see are perhaps have their own solar systems because, most stars, like the sun, have got other planets orbiting around them, which then leads us to the question we led off with: what is holding everything up? When I was younger, I thought dark matter was what the planets that of the known solar system and outside of our solar system, outside of our galaxy, in the known universe. I thought dark matter was what everything was hanging in. So I thought it was a gel-like matter.
Well, there's no up or down in space,
Okay, well that's
so you can't really say what's holding us up. We're just-
gravity, right?
Well,
We were talking about this
Yeah,
the other
yeah, yeah.
day. It's gravity that is actually.
so and what is gravity, right?
What is gravity? That's the thing. What is gravity, and what formed our planets, and what was the magnetic pull? So gravity is a magnet. Everything seems to be magnetic because we know gravity because we're not floating off from the ground. We know gravity because a ball will always fall. A baseball, whacked into the air will always, it'll travel, but it will eventually be pulled down by the Earth's gravity. And what keeps us all together is gravity. And what you said about we're all just there's no up and down. But the thing is, planets are actually in free fall. But talking about the Goldilocks zone,
Well, it technically is falling towards the center of the galaxy, right?
right?
Because it's spinning around the galaxy. So
Okay, so we are dictated to by our solar, our major,
yeah.
our God, and that is another thing we should talk about. How the concept of God did come from that which did give us life. The true, the sun god, the god that, if you were newly made humanoids from, standing up and having shed your fur and then getting burnt to a crisp, and then our incredible brains then creating, new cells, etc. Of course, when people started first thinking, and before words existed, I think, people would be like, oh my gosh, that is God up there, right? That makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Because everything, and then they could see, because our brains evolved to be pattern seekers and pattern seers, and to be able to connect the dots. That is what thinking is. And I think that's why a lot of people can't do it, because it's a lot of hard work, and it's, but anyway, it's the solar system, or our planets are in constant they're falling to the sun.
towards the sun.
Towards
right?
the sun.
Sorry. Yes. Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
falling
sorry,
towards the sun.
Yeah.
But because it's all just right,
Mm-hmm.
is why everything stays up. I do have some information about it, because I did know that, but keep talking about something, darling.
I read the other day, I saw something a while back that Neil deGrasse was saying the Earth is trying to kill us.
Explain that one further while I seek some information.
Well, I mean, everyone says this is the Goldilocks zone, right? And
Yep.
we're in the Goldilocks zone, and it's the perfect place for life to exist.
Right.
But the Earth is always trying to find things to kill. Nature,
Well, see,
natural occurrences
I
like
don't
weather,
quite believe that.
viruses,
Well, yeah.
animals.
Yeah, but I don't believe
But
it's.
I think it was just in jest, though.
Yes.
I mean, just You know, just think about it.
But I think it's as scientists, maybe astrophysicists are the ones who most understand how to live respectfully. Because, of course, like we read about astronauts and cosmonauts, and from cosmonauts being from Russia and astronauts, I think all countries, space travelers have adopted astronauts. I'm not sure what the Indian astronauts are called. Could you look that up for me? Because they have recently, India has recently had space travel added to its, list of accomplishments. But I am looking for something. So what was I saying? So what are they called? Are known formally as Gaganauts. Cool. All astronauts have said that when they look back at Earth, they just get filled with emotion and they see how small it is. And of course, Carl Sagan has that pale blue dot. Can you find that for me, darling? This beautiful, I don't know, prose or piece he says, and it's beautiful when he reads it out. And he had asked astronauts on a mission to take a photograph of Earth as when they're far away from it, and it was the pale blue dot, and he called it the pale, so the pale blue dot speech is beautiful. But I wanted to talk about what gravity is, and we'll talk about that soon, because gravity is the force by which a planet or other bodies draw objects towards its center. The force of gravity keeps all of the planets in orbit around the sun. What else does gravity do? See, why do things fall down when you throw them or drop them? The answer is gravity, an invisible force that pulls objects toward each other. Earth's gravity is what keeps you on the ground and what makes things fall. Anything that has mass also has gravity. Objects with more mass have more gravity. Gravity also gets weaker with distance, so the closer objects are to each other, the stronger their gravitational pull is. Earth's gravity comes from all its mass. All its mass makes a combined gravitational pull on all the mass in your body. Oh my gosh, we're in constant, how do we describe that? But it absolutely, to me, shows how we are all dependent on everything, on the atoms, on the mass of ourselves, on each other. We are all mini planets or universes within ourselves, all orbiting each other. And we are I guess there are far too many planets on this planet. Maybe for that, far too many egos, and they call them exoplanets when they're outside of our solar system. Well, I'm calling ego planets inside our planet. Anyway, so tell me more about the pale blue dot, darling.
Well, I've got the speech up here.
No, read it. Read it. Long. It is long, but read out the first few, and we will put a link to that in the caption for Sitara. So please do read it for yourself. Read it, darling.
Look again at that dot. That's there. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam.
Wow, that's already so beautiful. And it goes on. As I said, we will link to this, and this is from the Planetary Society, and this is written by Carl Sagan. And if Carl Sagan wasn't a scientist, he would be considered a prophet.
Yeah, well,
we highly recommend watching Cosmos, which was in 1980 originally, written by Carl Sagan and his wife, Anne Druyan. Could you please look that up for me, please? I keep forgetting her surname. My apologies, Ms. Druyan, but I'm certain that's what it is. And in
Anne
Druyan. And it's sometime in 2014, I think, is when they resurrected Cosmos, and this time hosted by Neil deGrasse Tyson, who was mentored by Carl Sagan. So it's really lovely to see that. And of course, with the new technology, etc., Cosmos is a beautiful, beautiful this should, why isn't this taught as a form of spirituality as well? Why aren't we taught in school that the way to find our spirituality is to look at the stars? That's why we also talk about theology in Sitara and what God is and the concept of it, and how really all we have to do is look at our existence, the fact that human beings exist through some wonderful grinding and crushing together of the elements to form us so that we can then inhabit this vessel that came from evolution. But where did our essence come from? Out there. And we find out that, what we are, we came from water originally. We crawled out of the water as non-shaped, shapeless, worms,
Flatworms.
flatworms,
Flatworms.
and then came to being into who we are today and where we are today. And I do think we do know that something has gone terribly wrong in how we were supposed to evolve. And I feel that the brain, being given free will, somehow chose the wrong path.
I always say things happen for a reason. So everything has happened, and we are here now because it was meant to happen. You know what I mean?
Free will. We are given at points in time throughout our own individual lives, but also in the life cycle of our generations and our societal generations, we are given choices to, as to where evolution will go next. And I think when I say perfect evil, look, I don't think evolution waits around for the spiritual balance to right itself. That's what human beings were created for, to choose that balance. And therefore, that's why you have perfect life or perfect evil. And perfect evil is the absence of good choices. Perfect evil to me is complacency and apathy.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but I'm going to go and continue talking about gravity, and please do feel free to find some things that I know we should be doing research prior to it, but this is a live. We're doing things live. We want to be able to, and the thing is, Dwayne never quite knows where I'm going to go with anything because I work best when I'm unscripted and the script is in my head. So Dwayne feels that's why we have laptops here. So then if I need to talk about something somewhere, there were Mr. Levi here will do the research. Thank you, my producer. So gravity in our universe. I am reading now from Spaceplace NASA.gov. By the way, just something really interesting for you to know. NASA, after World War II, actually employed many German scientists who I believe were ex-Nazis. Anyway, just a little tidbit to know, because German engineering, am I right? Right. All right. And German technology, really, seriously, is really good. It's pretty much Japanese and German technology. And aren't they similar in their outlooks of things? Very no-nonsense, matter of fact. And also pro-Israel.
That's interesting because I like both their languages.
I love both their languages. And of course, if we have to love, one particular language, German, because the English language is primarily Latin and German. There's a lot of German influence in the English language, which is why the spelling of things don't quite gel, and the composition and syntax and prepositions, etc., etc. But anyway, I am now talking about gravity in our universe. Gravity is what holds the planets in orbit around the sun and what keeps the moon in orbit around Earth. So there's this beautiful harmony. And that's why the moon affects our tides too. The gravity, a full moon,
Well, it's big enough to have a
gravitational pull, yes. And that's why it also affects human beings.
Yeah, well, we have water too.
Yes, yeah. And back then, way back before astrology, astronomy, before astronomy, astrology was the science, and that was just the chronicling of all the patterns. And there were people, like there have always been people, visionaries. There's a hierarchy within our mental capabilities as well. There are people who are meant to heal people. There are people who are able to see the patterns and connect the dots to see that when there's no great big shiny great big light that that lightens the entire world, when once a month or however way they timed the lunar, it was all by the month. And before the calendars were actually lunar calendars, and quite a few cultures and communities, and countries and cultures really have lunisolar calendars. We do follow the Gregorian calendar, which is a Roman Catholic calendar, started by the Pope Gregory in 1500s. Before that was the Julian calendar, and that there in the Julian calendar times is where the leap year as we know it now in 2024 is a leap year, but that's where it all came in. Before the Julian calendar, which Julius Caesar created, was just the Roman calendar. And a lot of the Julian calendar was taken from Ethiopian and Egyptian calendars of the time, which were all lunisolar. Now, Ethiopia still has a 13-month calendar. We should talk about that because it is intriguing. Calendar, the word comes from the Roman word, the ancient Roman word for the first of the month, calend.
Cool.
You know, of course, all the days are named after Roman, Roman gods and stuff like that. Or German, not Roman, actually, not all Roman, some are German. And of course, the months are from the Julian calendar, but we will do a full thing on that and another episode of Sithara. But I'm continuing reading this gravity thing. The gravitational pull of the moon pulls the seas towards it, causing the ocean tides. Gravity creates stars and planets by pulling together the material from which they are made. So this is why I'm talking about the Goldilocks zone.
Right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've got a bit of better information on the Goldilocks zone.
Okay.
It's also known as the habitable zone. It's the range of distance with the right temperatures for water to remain liquid.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And that is very, very important.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
For life.
yes,
To exist.
yes, this is what happened. This is I do share this a lot on the Daily Egg. Sorry to
No,
take over.
that was it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That apparently there was no water on this planet. It was volcanic activity and an inferno, so hell on earth, as Dwayne has said. And so there was no water, but a meteoroid or an asteroid. Just if you could look up, how did water come onto Earth? I had always thought, again, in my younger years, that, which, may have just been a few years ago, that water, I thought water existed and came from internally, that perhaps there was condensation, that it was so hot on Earth that condensation happened, etc.
So there's two theories.
All right.
Two theories.
Okay, tell me the
Either
theories.
Earth was born with the molecular precursors of water already present, or water-laden space rocks like asteroids and comets brought water here after the planet's formation.
Well, the latter theory is the theory I have always known, that water was deposited on the planet by a passing meteoroid, and what Dwayne had said before about the Goldilocks zone, when that asteroid that had been hurtling through space in cold space, when it came in proximity of our sun, in the solar system, of course, all of that turned to mush and then liquid, and as it passed Earth, which really, I do understand why everyone thought Earth it was the center of the universe.
But why not both, right? Why not? Why can't Earth have had the molecular precursors of water, and space rocks came, and that
would explain why our one species has got many variations, and some I don't really know if they are human beings. There is this crazy theory by well, there's people who believe, and look, I love that belief because I'd like to believe that too. That there's this thing called starseed belief. That we are people on Earth are from different star systems, and why not?
Yeah.
If such a theory exists that there are people in the skies, in the clouds, judging us and ready and waiting to smite us at every false or bad move we make, then why wouldn't there be such a thing as star seeds on this planet? It does make me also roll my eyes, and I have to stop myself from being so cynical, because this is something we talk about too, that we're made to believe that it's all just fiction, and that fiction is fiction. When fiction comes from the mind of human beings, and our imaginations, which have to get this information from somewhere, are we all looking for a higher meaning? Why? And that is what artists do, pursue that, be a channel for it. Is there any other information you've got for me?
About water from... Well, technically, I think everything came from space.
Well, yes, that is correct. That is correct. That is, what am I saying? I hate that term. I hate saying that is correct. But as in, that is not my fact. That is a fact. That is a fact of life. Everything came from space. I mean, how did Earth form? Earth formed because of. How did Earth form?
Um,
Okay, excuse us for a moment while we look up this information as to how Earth just formed. It pulled together gases. I mean, everything. Where did the lava come from? Where did the molten
Earth
core?
formed when gravity pulled swirling gas and dust in to become the third planet from the sun. So it was gravity. So when the solar system was being formed and everything, 4.5 billion years ago, just gravity just did everything.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's a magnetic pull.
Yeah, so it just pulls everything into its orbits. Everything that's orbiting in its orbit was pulled there for a reason. So it kind of just, you can just imagine it happening, right? So just imagine it spinning on its path, and everything just smashing into one
Right.
rock at a
Well,
time, building blocks. So-
that's how the moon formed, right? It
Well,
smashed
yeah.
into an astro. It was an
Well,
asteroid,
I think it smashed into Earth or something.
right?
Or something.
And then the debris came together,
Yeah.
and so that's why it doesn't actually have. The moon is classed as a planet, isn't it?
No,
Okay, great.
moon is a moon. It's not a planet.
Oh, the moon is a moon.
Yeah, planets
All
have
other planets
moons.
have moons.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry about that. There's a reason why I didn't continue with studying astrophysics. But anyway, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, what I want to know is, how did it know? How did it know? Like, what was it?
So the
that
moon
was
is
it?
like a satellite.
But how did all the planets? Now, what's the oldest planet?
It's the oldest planet in our solar system.
In our solar system? I mean, there are planets available. We have a wonderful app, Stellarium. It's a free app. Please have a look at it. I'll put the link to this app in the captions.
Uranus.
Uranus is on the record for the coldest. That's coldest, and
Oh.
it's the oldest.
Oldest.
Coldest. That's the coldest planet.
Sorry.
Uh,
Jupiter.
Okay, and Jupiter has been called Earth's protector, and I think that's why it was named after a head god of the Roman mythology,
Right.
theology. Jupiter supposedly, because of how large it is. I mean, if you have ever seen, like a pictorial or whatever showing the different sizes, etc., and of course the different sizes then affect the way it spins and its orbit, etc. But Jupiter apparently is so huge that it is said it collects all the dangerous meteorites and meteorites.
11 times the diameter of Earth.
Yeah, I guess we would need to show you, something in comparison. But again, you can look that up, right? If you're here watching, then you are interested in all of these things, so you can look that up. But so did they actually help Earth form? Because Jupiter, things are bouncing off Jupiter. So as things are bouncing off everywhere that weren't, what was happening and creating? So something magnetic then started, whirling and spinning and drawing debris and gases and dust to
Yeah.
it. Where did that molten core come from?
So
We don't know, but we will find out and share a lot more with you about that. Do we have any other news for you right now? There was such a thing as the Devil's Comet, they call it, or Mother of Dragons, they've named it because the Devil's Comet. Look, in our current world, thinking, calling anything a Devil's Comet, just don't, please don't, because people will be like, oh my God, end of days. I remember when the rapture was supposed to happen over a decade ago, according to the Christian
Yeah, right.
belief system. People really believed people were going to start flying off into the air. It's like, dude, what? No, seriously. But so what else? So I'm reading now from, there's a lot of news about what's happening in the planetary systems. The Milky Way is rising again, and it's also meteoroid season. There's a great, wonderful meteor shower happening right now in the constellation of Aquarius, and it comes to its peak, which, stay tuned, because see that? Yeah, we'll be sharing some stories about that on Finalysis. Join us then on May the 4th. Why May the 4th? Come on! Think about it. But also on that day, this wonderful meteor shower, which is a result of the debris from Halley's Comet, which is currently on its way back to our our section of the planet, not planet Earth, not solar system, and that's the debris coming off that meteor shower. But next week we'll tell you more about that, or the week before, leading into it. But it is happening, and you don't need to have a telescope to see it. If you look in, if you just find out how can I view this meteor shower that is happening in the constellation of Aquarius. So I think it's called Eta Aquarii, something like that. You can see it with the naked eye, but you do have to have darkness around you. For most of us living in cities, that is going to be a bit impossible. I would have loved to be out back at that time. What's happening in 20...
Did you see the last Halley's Comet?
I did see the last Halley's Comet. I saw it. I remember.
It's a 76-year journey. So the next one's in 2061.
We will be alive for that.
Yeah,
so in my
totally.
lifetime, and quite a few of us will have seen Halley's Comet, named after the astronomer Edmund Halley.
I was 5.
Well,
So-
I was 15.
Yeah.
And I remember my mother and I would go down to the Suva Seawall and just and watch. And it was amazing. It was really, really
Cool.
fantastic. And Swatch had brought out, because I used to collect swatches, I still do. I love swatches. And Swatch had brought out a special edition Halley's Comet. I don't know if it's Haley or Halley. I know it's a double L, but the pronunciation of it is, it's not Haley. Is it Halley's Comet? Can you check the, or Halley's Comet? But it's named after Edmund Halley. And I had a wonderful swatch commemorating that, but now I don't have it because I was 15 and I'm 53 now. But I usually keep things forever. I have kept things from my teenage years, So it's Haley or Halley. I'm sure it's Halley. But anyway, I think that's all we have for you today on Sitara.
Halley.
As I said, there's meteors. It's meteor season. I'd love to be out back right now because, oh my gosh, it is amazing to stare up at the sky when it's not being polluted by all our artificial light. It is, you can still see so much. And you and I spend many evenings just fascinated looking at our app, and we have telescopes, but we live in a city now, so we don't really have a clear sky to look at. But where we lived before, we would just spend hours and hours and hours looking out at that incredible sky. So, well, that's Sitara for today. Just talking about Earth Day and what that means to you, to us, to me. Oh gosh, it isn't just about it. Where else do we have? We have no other place. We have no other option. I know the billionaires are all finding ways to leave the planet after they've messed it up. And you know what? That animated movie, WALL-E, which you had said to me all this time, you should watch it. And I hadn't wanted to watch it because I thought it was really going to be childish about a robot falling in love. I didn't realize the bigger picture and message behind it. So, but we recommend that, right?
Yeah, totally. It was kind of depressing, huh?
Very depressing. But what could be more depressing than our current circumstances on this planet? We are all one species fighting against each other for what I don't know, for domination over each other, for power. What is power? What is power? If we really want to, what if one day all of our fiction comes true? And it is the friction that we're all scared of. What if the Earth decides to just shake us all off? And that's Earth Day for you. Anyway, thank you very much for being here. I think that's it for today. And we will see you next time on Sitara. And that's at 5-6 o'clock. You'll see the schedule on Mondays. Otherwise, join us tomorrow on the Daily Egg, and please do keep get up to date on all the other shows we've got. We had episode 2 of Starlander on Sundays at 2 o'clock, and episode 2 of The Riff, which is also Sundays at 5 o'clock, all Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're not coordinating our time with the lunar right now. By the way, that's where the term, where the word lunacy and lunatic came from lunar. Because of they could see the correlation between the full moon and how it affected people on Earth. Yeah. Everyone went a bit woohoo lunatic. So there you go. They were very affected by moon madness, and the moon is magical, beautiful. I consider it so powerful to be able to not harness, but hold. It would not get blown to pieces by the power of that sun, because it doesn't have the weight. It doesn't have the layers that Earth does. The huge well,
Atmosphere.
well, not just the atmosphere. Well, yeah, that too, because that deflects all quite a cosmic rays, etc.
Yeah.
And this is why we are so concerned about the ozone and all of that. But we'll share more in the next episode of Sitara. That's it for now. Thank you. Bye. See you later.
Hit that subscribe button.
Oh yes, thank you. Remind them again, darling.
Hit the subscribe button.
Thanks for being here. Bye.